There's going to be a lot of little surprises in this episode. First off, Paul, we got the interview.
First it was Biden, then Biden dropped out. Now Kamala had came in. So when Kamala came in, we looked at Kamala Harris' record.
Mhm.
All right, had an affair with Willie Brown, former mayor of San Francisco,
Well,
and we
Trump used to grab
believe,
him by the pussy, right? That's what he did, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, Trump has some sins, all right, but Kamala, we
He had some
believe what,
sins. He's still
yeah,
sitting. But go
yes,
ahead, my friend.
but Kamala, what she did to the people out in California, not only as a prosecutor, but she worked her way, I should say, she slept her way to the top to
How
become
do you
the
know that, though?
attorney
Those are
general.
rumors.
I tell you what, you don't get that far by just being smart. And she has a very low IQ. So she's also detached from the inner city. So when I say she has a very low IQ, what I mean is that she is detached from the people from the inner city.
Oh,
We
but she
feel
didn't grow
more,
up in the inner city, did she?
no, she never did.
All right, so
We feel more comfortable with Donald Trump than with her.
all right, but
Yes.
only okay. Let me back up a little bit and just bring a few stats out. Okay, 20% of black men voted for Trump.
And
20%. That's 1 out of 5. So
yes.
you and that 20.
I say,
Okay.
I disagree with you. I would say
Well,
the
I mean
latest
that's what the
numbers that I
stats
looked
say.
at, it says that it was
Nope,
27%.
nope. In 2024, the election, around 20% of black men voted for Trump, which was a notable increase from the previous years, wherein 13% supported him in 2016.
Okay.
All right. And then recent polls in 2025 show mixed trends. Early in the year, Trump saw a surge in black male support. Why is that, you think?
Kamala agenda did not fit our agenda whatsoever. She was more toward promoting women rights. She did not add anything in her policies regarding men, especially African American men. And we have been neglected ever since black women, goes all the way back to the 60s, decided to take welfare over family. So they
Wait a minute.
neglected
Could you
the
repeat that welfare part? Could you just repeat that for me, please?
black women in the 60s decided to take welfare over the black family, meaning that they were able to receive benefits from the state, but the black male was not allowed to enter the home.
All right.
So
Can I just back up a little bit? Because I think that I could possibly educate you a little bit on what happened back then in terms of welfare, black women getting welfare. I think you may have heard that argument before, but I think it's very, very
I
true.
did. I did heard
All
the
right.
argument, and I also did my
That
research.
that it was an initiative by the government to split
Yes,
the black family.
yes, yes,
Okay,
and it
and to
destroyed the
do
black
that
family.
was to discourage them being together, to give the mother welfare benefits, and this, then all of a sudden, 20 years later or 15 years later, they said, "Oh, we got to get people off welfare." They initiated it.
Yes, they did.
Okay,
But
they
Walter, Walter,
initiated welfare to split
but
the black
Walter,
family.
Walter, it
Yes.
destroyed the black community. You have to agree
What?
with that. It
What's
it
that?
destroyed the black community. Anytime you take the head of the house, the man out of the home, it's going to make the woman weak because
Yeah,
women
but
were
who
never
initiated,
intended.
Paul? Whose whose strategy was
We
that, Paul? Whose strategy was that to alienate or to split the black family,
it
the
was it
man and the
was the
woman?
it was the government, but the
All
woman
right,
had a
so
choice. The woman
so
had a choice.
what do you mean? The women, they don't know anything. Like, I mean, how can they know? One, they got kids, and the man, they push the man out of the house, and they got to feed these kids, and the government comes to the rescue. So that's what
Mm.
happens. And then they couldn't wean themselves off because it became generational. Once you got on welfare, you could never come off of it because they made it too attractive to come off of.
Yes, they did. But the fact is, there are generational curses that had continued, and now it's time to stop it. It's time for us to go back into our inner city and build men and women up and let them know that there is a better life out in society for them.
But you get the impression that everybody. Do you think what's your percentage of black people you think are on welfare?
In my estimation, I would say
Yeah.
probably at least about 3 to 4%.
Oh, 3 to 4%, not bad out of 48 million, right?
Yes,
So you got
yes.
3%. How many percent of white people are on welfare?
I would have to say in the 60s, the high 60s. So those
60% of
entitlement
white people on welfare?
yeah. I'm talking about yes, yes. I would say 60, in the 60 range, but those what you call entitlement programs. Wouldn't you
Welfare is
agree?
entitlement.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Social Security is entitlement.
Yes. Yes, it is.
But Social Security is, when we put the money in, they take it out of our check. So I don't see that as an entitlement. I see that as getting the money back that I put in, right?
But they call it entitlement as well. So you have
Uh,
your politician would say that, hey, this is an entitlement program.
okay. All right. So Lamar, let's back up a little bit now.
Yes.
I
Yes.
want to know, and I think you gave me the answer to this already, but what inspired you to be a Republican?
Well, let me be abundantly clear. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm Paul Lamar Hunter. This was just my first time voting for the first black president, Donald
He's
Jaquavius
not black.
Trump. You would disagree with me. Well, I tell
Because,
you what,
okay,
this man acts like a black man. This man walk like a
what about
black
the Central
man.
Park Five? Did he act like a black man when the Central Park
Now,
Five?
I'm glad. I am delighted that you brought up the Central Park Five because you know what, Walter? Donald Trump was a citizen. Donald Trump was a registered Democrat when he made those statements.
He was a registered Democrat when he made those statements.
Yes, yes, he was. Yes,
Okay, I
he
got to go
was.
back and check.
He
But
was a
you
he
can be
was a
Democrat or
citizen.
Republican, but if you're racist, you're racist. Doesn't matter.
But now, why are people keeps calling this man a racist? I tell you what, there are some things that Republicans have said. There's some things that Democrats have said, but you never call out Democrats for being racist. You quick to call out the racists in the Republicans. It was the
Okay, this
Democrats
is.
that started the KKK, Walter.
I
Why don't you
understand what
see
you're
them out for
saying.
that?
Okay, while we're on that topic, real quick, do you think the KKK is a terrorist organization?
In my opinion,
Do you
the way
think it's
they
a
got it
terrorist?
set
Either
up,
yes or no.
the way they got it set up, they got it
The
set up
KKK.
as a nonprofit organization. That's the
You
way
don't believe
they
the
have it set up.
KKK is a terrorist organization?
Walter, it is set up as a nonprofit organization. That's the way they got it set up.
Okay, well they got it set up, but what is it? Is it a terrorist organization or not? They burn crosses on people's lawn. They hung black people. They intimidated black people. They scared black people from the polls. That's Jim Crow. Are you familiar with Jim Crow?
That I am familiar with Jim Crow. You are
Has Jim
absolutely
Crow
right.
disappeared?
And I'm going to be abundantly clear. Yes, the KKK should be labeled a terrorist organization.
Okay. All right. At least you're willing to listen, you know? Okay. All right, Paul. Good, 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 good. All right. Do you think now I'm gonna go back to politics and policy here a little bit. Do
Yes.
you think that your upbringing had anything to do with your choices now in terms of, you're voting for a party that is a biased and racist party, such as the Republicans? And you
Walter,
may
there you
not believe,
go.
but just give me just an honest answer. You can just say, "Oh,
Walter, Walter, there you go again, taking shots at the Republican Party. If you're going to take shots at the Republican Party, I advise you to do your research, and also
I got my
once
research right
you
here.
once you conclude
I have already
with the
concluded, my friend.
information, you need to take shots at the Democratic Party as
I'm taking shots at the only shots I'm taking at the Democratic Party now is they're not fighting back.
they can't
They're
fight
just
back. They
taking it from
always
the
been weak.
Republicans.
They always been weak, and what they are a bunch of elitists. Ever since we made that decision to elect tidy whitey Barack Obama, this country has gone down. It was a failure under his leadership. That's the
So you
reason
think
why
that the election of President Obama was the beginning of a downslide for the American? When he came in, we were in the big
yes,
recession. We're in the Great
yes,
Recession. I was directly impacted from it. Okay, the Great
yes.
Recession, 2007, 8, and 9. Okay, when he was elected in 2008, we were in a deep recession. We had companies going out of
remember
business.
that
All your
clearly.
your large automotive companies, such as GE and Ford, and all, even though Ford didn't take the loan, but the other ones did.
Even Chrysler.
He went against Republicans and arranged to give them bridge loans to the car manufacturers. He gave them bridge loans against, and it was opposed by the Republicans. It was opposed by them. He gave the car companies bridge loans, and then once they got back, they paid us back with interest. And the Republicans were staunchly opposed to it because you know what they used to say?
What's up?
In a free enterprise society, if a business runs into difficulty, that business should go out of business. That was their rationale back then in 2008, 9, and 10. They did not want these car companies to get loans from the government. But President Obama had the foresight and the vision, all right, to do so. Okay, and he also had he had a number of people in Congress. He had the Congress that helped him push it through. But if it was a Republican Congress, now they would have helped them right now under Donald Trump. Donald Trump would have helped those corporations because he's doing it now with Intel.
Well, you got to understand.
He's taking a 10% stake in Intel.
Well, this is a different
socialist
administration compared to Barack Obama administration.
We got my belief more. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and argue who was a better president, whether it's President Obama, which I think everybody knows, or is this guy, the tariff, TACO. You know what TACO stands for, right?
Yes, I do. But let me say this.
Trump always chickens out because that's what he is. He's not a man. He's a coward, man.
Man, Trump was born.
You'll see that. You're going to see it. Look, you know what? I was so proud that my kids, that they could take, and I'll use an example for you. Bush Cheney against Gore and whoever his running partner was back then, 2000. That my youngest son, was a Bush Cheney guy. And he had a stick on the back of his car. I asked him to explain to me why, but it made sense, okay, from his perspective. I didn't discourage him. I was proud that he was an independent thinker.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got somebody like Trump, all right, that's telling schools what to teach, he's doing everything to pick on people. Every hour of the day, there's some drama coming from this guy. And now let's talk about the big, beautiful bill.
The big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. When they get out, I want to see, would you vote for that if you were in Congress?
To be honest with you, most definitely. I know that I come from the inner city. I know that I had experienced some hardship under my mother and also under my father as well. But especially when it comes to food stamps, I don't think food stamps should be passed down from generation to generation. It is created to get by. And you have to find you a job so that way you can get off of these benefits.
Well, a lot of people on food stamps work. They just don't make enough money.
Yeah, there's some that do not make enough money. But hey, let's do this. Let's create a program like Trump created a program, Ready to Work program, which is great. Let's get
Ready to Work program. Explain that to me, please.
Ready to Work is a program designed that if you want to go back and get you a certification, especially if guys coming out of prison, coming out of jail, does not matter, does not discriminate, but you can go and get you a trade. There's nothing wrong with that.
Where is that? How do people join that program or get into that program? Because
you can call any of your cities, like the city of San Antonio. They implemented Ready to Work program.
That could be a city of San Antonio. That may be a state.
But they
no.
They get
no.
Trump. Yeah. It's a federal program, but it's implemented through the state. Every state does this.
I'm going to check on that.
Yes, you need to check on it. But Walter,
I never heard of it.
But Walter, let me say this: we need to have our inner city children, adults, get re-educated, get recertified. There's nothing wrong with being a plumber. There's nothing wrong with being an electrician. There's nothing wrong with going and get your trade like cybersecurity.
I agree with you 100%.
Are good trades. I got a buddy came out of the army, struggling, trying to find a job. Finally
Hmm.
got him a job making $16 an hour. But guess what
Okay.
he did? He registered into the Ready to Work program, completed it within 9 months. Now he making 150,000 a year
I
as a
agree.
cybersecurity.
We
So
need to get into those jobs. You know,
now,
plumbers, electricians. Those are very lucrative jobs. And once you get into
yes,
them,
yes. Now
but
I remember when
they
I,
block everything because of apprenticeship and stuff like that. They
yeah,
block black
so
people from getting into those trades
yeah, I remember when I
because they
was in,
don't want to. I mean, do you understand how that works, though? Becoming a plumber or electrician, you know how that works.
yes, yes, I do. But let me say this: when I was in middle school, okay, and went into high school, those trades were there for us in high school, but they took them out. They need to bring them back to the
I
high
agree with
school where
that. They need to bring those
they
back to the high school.
they need
Yes,
to bring them back. Because let's
yes.
be real, some people in your audience might agree with me, and some would disagree with me. There are some people are just not built for college. You understand that?
Yeah,
I'm not.
we all
I'm
know
not built.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. So if you get you a certificate, you can make money. You can make a living wage. So the big, beautiful bill, yes, there's some things that needs to be cut. But I want people to understand, especially the ones that come that's on housing, your housing, the government should not take care of you forever. You use that
I don't know
as a
where these
stepping
people are you
stone.
talking about that, man. I really don't.
Okay. Okay.
Because I
For
think
example,
that I mean I've been in New York 40 years. My family, nobody in my family ever been on welfare. Where I come from, if you want welfare, we look down at people on welfare. I couldn't associate with people on welfare.
oh
Okay, so I
wow.
mean, when you make that type of statement, is it generalization, or is that only specific to the
Well,
inner city?
I tell you what, Walter, you need to
Yeah.
get out your bubble, and you will
What bubble?
discover once, and when you will discover that if you go into the inner city, there's a lot of people that's on housing. There's a lot of people that receive EBT. My job is not to tear them down. My job is to build them up. So,
I understand that, but you're gonna keep them down with voting for
n-
people like Trump. All
no,
Trump, you know what?
oh,
Trump does not want to see a dark face near him. Okay, you cannot.
uh,
Now look at his cabinet. How many black faces up there? When you look at
does
the
not
meetings
matter.
that he have, how many black faces? One.
It does not matter. It
Okay,
does
no,
not
it does
matter,
matter.
Walter. No, it does not.
Representation matters.
No, no,
Representation
it does
matters,
not.
Paul.
I tell you what, Walter, I tell you what, if the Trump administration called me for a job, I would take that job in a
Yeah,
heartbeat.
because what you gonna do? What else you gonna do? You support him already, so you would take that job. If I were you,
and
like I
you
said,
will
one out
and
of
you will
five
be
black
upset.
guys voted for Trump. If I was you,
Yeah.
I would send him an email and say, "Look, I need a job.
But I
I
don't need a
voted for
job,
you. I
Walter.
support you 100%."
No, no,
And
no,
then
no.
ask him whether he's gonna give you a job. He doesn't want to see you, Paul. He will
Well,
not
I
even
tell you
shake
what,
your hand.
I really can't say, but I will say this. I'm working on something real bad, real big, Walter. And believe me, I'm going to have my opportunity to sit down with President Trump. And I'm going to let President Trump look at this interview of what you have said and other people have
Yeah, yeah.
said.
Let him.
And
Yeah, I
I'm
want him
going
to
to
look at
have
it
him
and
address
tell
those
tell
concerns that
him.
you had.
All right. Yeah, I want him to look at this interview. I hope he does. I hope he
Because
reaches out to
it
me
seems like
because I've been talking bad about this guy for 7, 8 years almost.
I know that, and you act like you are part of the view. Them goes over there at the view.
What view? What is that? What is the
The
view?
View, the talk show, The View with
I don't
Whoopi
watch it.
Goldberg.
I don't watch it. I
Thank
don't
God.
watch it. I don't
Thank
watch it.
God. Hey,
I don't watch it.
there's my friend Bridget. Hey, Bridget, how
Oh,
are you?
no, how are you? I deeply apologize to the audience and the guests, of course, for my delay in technology. But I'm the senior citizen type
Yeah.
person,
Hmm.
technology, and I've been listening. I've been trying to listen in to you guys, so I had to grab my old phone, And
Yeah.
so Lamar, I just want to go back and back up something that I heard you say, I believe, about the SNAP and the food stamp program. Let me tell you something, young man. I don't know how old you are, and I'm 67, so I've been here a long time.
Mm,
I came from a single parent. Okay, my
yes.
dad and mom broke up when I was little, about 4 years old. It was six of us, And not one time did my mother go to social service or any kind of food stamps. She worked 2 and 3 jobs, and she taught all of us how to be independent. But yet she knew the struggle of the Black people during that time. She knew the struggle. Everybody, it's more white women and white families on food stamp programs than there are Black. But I've always tried to make sure I understand before I speak anything. Everybody, in everything, young man, somebody's going to take advantage of. There's nothing in the world that you can always have a negative, somebody taking advantage of some situation. But I know for a fact some people need these feeding programs. They need them. Everybody's not taking advantage of those programs. And then you got young women that do get on those programs and they come off those programs. But that's something that's never repeated, never reported. Those of you get the negative is always going to be reported because the good is never going to be reported. It does help families. It does help bring families out. Yes, some of it been up there for generations. Even God, and you say you're a born again Christian. I'm a born again Christian. Okay? I believe
You
in
said he was
Christ.
a born again
I was
Christian?
brought up believing in Christ, but I was also brought up that you help thy neighbor. I was also brought up that you feed the least. That God is saying, when you hurt the least of
Amen.
these, you hurt me. When you forget to feed the homeless, you forget about me, because that's what he stood for. Go back. Now, I know I don't know what Bible you're reading, but I'm reading the Holy Bible. And it tells us that's what Christ walked on this earth for the least of these. He didn't walk up there for the rich and the poor. I'm not going to say that any of those presidents was perfect. Everybody got flaw. I got a flaw. You got a flaw. Walter has a flaw. So I'm not going to single out who, what, when, where, and how. But I know that there are programs that help these people. Everybody don't get off on, or what they say, get over on, or whatever terminology your generation use. I remember walking downtown in Williamston at RSC and looking through a window, wishing that I could go in and sit in the table and eat just like all the white folks was eating.
Tell him again,
We
Tell
ordered
him
our
again,
food
niece.
from the outside of the window. But my mother raised 6 children, 6 of us, 6 by herself, and didn't take nothing from social service, food stamps, or
Hey,
whatever you want to label
I
it,
hate to
young
cut you
man.
off, but I told him in our family, nobody ever's been on welfare. We didn't
Never.
associate with people that were on welfare.
No. And if we
We come
did,
from
it was
North
because we were
Carolina.
helping them.
I don't know what you're talking about. I understand. Okay, go ahead,
I
Bob.
don't know where you're getting your material from, because I come from North Carolina is a southern state. I think you said your background was a southern state. Is that correct?
No, I was born in the city of Racine, Wisconsin.
Okay, so
But
you were
my
born in Wisconsin. I got an
but my
uncle. I got some relatives out that way too. But
so
I know
so
for a fact we weren't. We have to be careful painting a picture of people. We're thinking that they're in a box. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine. She's a white lady, and she's a good friend of mine. And the first thing come about, well, I don't have a problem with these welfare programs and stuff, but it's just that these Black girls be getting their nails done and their hair done and all that. And I had to stop her right there. I said, you know what, I'm going to stop. I said, let me tell you about my culture. Now, I can only speak of the culture that I grew up in. I can't speak of your culture, Lamont, but I know what I grew up in. We didn't always go to a hairstylist. We learned it. The thing about the Black woman, she learns things. We learn how to press each other's hair, to do each other's nails. And these young Black girls out here today, some of them are doing that. And these low income, y'all think they're taking their money and spending on that? No. They're learning how to go in these foreign shops and buy hair, which don't pour, these shops that don't pour nothing back into the Black community, period. But they learn how to do each other's hair and to do each other's nail. Because one thing we was taught as young Black people and young Black children, we didn't have that much. I know what it felt like to put bag inside of my shoe if mama couldn't make ends meet and get new shoes for right now, and kept ourselves warm. She taught us, she said, I don't care if we got 1 penny and a sandwich wrapped in a bag. You walk out that door looking like you worth something. That's the way
That's
we
right.
were raised.
That's right. I can give you another example. All right. You can wear the same clothes to school every day,
Every day.
as long as they're clean. And
Long
you
as
got
you
no
clean.
clean underwear. That's the
Clean
key.
underwear, you were nice. So we have our people have dignity. This stereotyping about them leeching and they not doing this and black women having all these babies. More how are we gonna have all these children when there's more white women than it is black women? More white women. You just wait and see. See, experience would be your teacher. Life shall
Exactly.
be. Whoever you vote for, that's your choice. But life itself gonna be your teacher. I am proud of you, young man, that you wrote that book because you came from nothing. And your mom taught you well, and your father taught you well. You came, is having 22 families, children in the family is not unheard of. The Hudgens has 22 children in Wilmington, North Carolina. You can research it. You can go
Oh,
down
I
to
didn't know
Wilmington and
that,
ask the
but
folks about the Hudgens family. And
yeah, I didn't know that.
I think the father at the time worked on a farm from a white owner. He didn't get much back, but he fed his children. And those Hudgens children was clean, and they looked good. So I'm just saying, I think that I got a problem with, you can have your opinion, but I got a problem with people thinking that black women or black people are leeching on the system. You know, Martin Luther King used to tell us, well, he didn't tell us, but that was his words. How you tell a black man to pull up his straps when you ain't got no straps to pull up?
That's right. That's
Straps
very
on my,
true.
if you don't have a belt on your pants, a button on your pants, and a zip on your pants, young man, how do you zip it up and pull it up? Can you pull it up? Will it stay up on your butt without a zip and a button? And I'm speaking to you from wisdom and knowledge and the experience of being a black woman. Now,
Right.
I'm
All right.
very, very proud of you in the book. Trust me, I've been watching you and following you because that's what we do.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you. But I want us
Well,
to always look on both sides of the pillow. I listened to you say Donald Trump was the first black president. No, he won't.
yeah,
He
well, I
won't the
tell you
first black
what,
president.
that's
No, he
what I was
won't.
telling Walter. We feel that he represents us. I don't because I can tell that you are a Democrat. Walter is a Democrat.
I'm
So
an
hey,
independent.
I'm
I'm an independent.
okay.
I'm
Well, you're
And you know
independent,
why? And do you
but
want to
you
know
have
why I'm a
so
Democrat?
much.
Because I'm
Why
a
is that?
Democrat because I believe it's not because every policy they got that I align with. Oh no, oh no. But I rather than you all, say the worst of the. Some people say the worst of the better, but I'm gonna go for the people because I got to stand for Christ.
Well,
I got Republican friends I got friends that are Republican, and the first thing they tell me is, well, I vote Republican because of the abortion. Well, and I ain't gonna cuss because I've been telling us the Lord not to let me cuss. I said, how can you vote for the womb of a woman, but when the child come out, you don't vote, and you don't vote for the things to keep that child going. You don't vote for things until the child get in his tomb. You don't vote for anything to feed him, to clothe him, but you're concerned about the womb.